Many conservation scientists and organizations support trophy hunting. This may come as a surprise to many who assume that conservationists just work to protect wildlife. However, trophy hunting emerges seamlessly from conservation's deep history and dominant culture. Conservation has offered the world one daring idea: the ethical innovation, "Thou shalt not drive extinctions and destroy all life on Earth." That may seem like a pretty obvious and banal proposition today, but it was an extremely radical idea at a time when many still believed that the Earth was a limitless monopoly game created just for them. But conservation also emerges from the same cultural roots with those who believe that only we, humans, matter. Conservation is largely dominated by Western culture, which has traditionally considered, at least some, humans to be separate and superior to all others. This is why it seems completely okay to do whatever we feel like to, say, a lion, as long as it will, or maybe will, help ensure that lions don't go extinct. Here's the thing. For conservation, lions actually don't matter. Panthera leo matters. This is because lions, unlike humans, are things, while humans, unlike lions, are persons. There are things that you can do to things that you can't do to persons. You can keep things in captivity for your kids to gawk at. You can pet their kids. And when they grow up, you can have rich white dudes shoot them and stick their heads on their walls. And that is all fine as long as we don't run out of these things so that we can keep gawking, petting, and shooting forevermore. But here's the snag. Animals are not things. Animals are persons. Many animals are sentient beings. They feel, they think, they form meaningful relationships. They can be joyful and they can grieve. They can be curious or bored, pleased or pissed off. They are just like you and I. They are moral subjects, not a stamp collection. So if you ask me whether trophy hunting is okay, I think, well, would I agree that it is okay to, raise funds for starving humans by selling the rights to trophy hunt a few of us? No. So no. Is the conservation of species so much of a good that nothing else matters? What is the good that conservation is trying to achieve anyway, and who gets to decide? Conservationists typically accept the obscenity of trophy hunting because they believe that it's the only way to save some species from extinction, and because they believe that only species, rather than individuals, matter morally. It's the sad, necessary evils we need to accept for the greater good. Are species morally significant? Yes. Are individuals morally significant? Also yes. Is it clear that species categorically matter more than individuals? No. Is it clear that we must choose between individuals and species? Also no. Is the mission of conservation, so sacred, so absolute, as to justify continuing our endless pursuit of domination over the lives of every other creature on Earth? For the greater good has been the excuse for every atrocity ever committed. Gellert Grindelwald's massacre of Muggles. The child in the basement of the terrible Edenic society of Omelas. Oh, Omelas, what joy! How is one to tell about joy, how to describe the citizens of Omelas? To make this heavenly wonderland possible, Ursula Le Guin tells us that one child must be sacrificed. In a basement under one of the beautiful public buildings of Omelas, there is a room. It has one locked door and no window. The room is about 3 paces long and 2 wide. In the room, a child is sitting. They all know the child is there, all the people of Omelas. They all know that it has to be there. They all understand that their happiness, the beauty of their city, the tenderness of their friendships, the health of their children, the wisdom of their scholars, depend wholly on this child's abominable misery. But here's the twist in the tale. There are those that suddenly fall silent for a day or two and then leave home and walk out down the street alone. And they keep walking straight out the city of Omelas. Through the beautiful gates, they go on. They leave Omelas. They walk ahead into the darkness, and they do not come back. Does the flourishing of a society justify the abject suffering of a child? I hope that idea makes your insides squirm. So by the same token, I would ask, does the protection of Panthera leo justify the slaughter and desecration of a lion? Even if it were true that the only way to save Panthera leo was by selling out lions, I would walk away from conservation. But I don't think it is true. I think that human beings are infinitely more intelligent and creative than this. We can do better, and we must do better. But how do we break out of this lifeboat scenario that always has but one outcome? We start by giving up on the fantasy that we are superheroes or supervillains. We give up on the idea that we're the CEOs of planet Earth. Make no mistake, as conservationists, we have a lot of power, and we're not afraid to use it. But the reckless disregard for the lives of other animals will have to come to an end. Fortunately, society is increasingly recognizing that we share the world with countless beings that deserve compassion and justice. Last year, an orangutan named Sandra was released from a zoo when Argentina recognized her legal personhood. Judge Elena Liberatori stated, "With that ruling, I wanted to tell society something new, that animals are sentient beings and that the first right they have is our obligation to respect them." This year, in 2020, the Islamabad High Court in Pakistan similarly ordered the release of an Asian elephant named Kavan. Chief Justice Athar Minalla affirmed, "Do the animals have legal rights?" The answer to this question, without any hesitation, is in the affirmative. It is hard to give up power. It is frightening to give up the illusion of control. But if we want conservation to be relevant in the 21st century, then we will have to throw our ring of power into the depths of Mount Doom.